Hello, everyone. Welcome to your vinyasa practice. This month, we are focusing on things like contralateral movement, so opposite limbs moving at the same time, right hand, left leg, for example. And a lot of that will involve balance. And this is very good for not only the musculoskeletal system, but also the neurological pathways in the brain, helping right and left hemisphere work together and improving neuroplasticity, which is our ability to learn new things, carve new mental grooves in our brain. And one prop that might come in handy today, although it's not required, but it might be nice to have, is something like a stool, a chair, or if you have yoga blocks at home, feel free to use those. And we will get started in downward facing dog today. So if that feels like a good choice for you, you can go ahead and set up your downward facing dog. If you need to modify your downward facing dog at any point in time, and especially for these first few moments of our practice, you could always take child's pose instead, or come down to the knees for a few moments and then come back up to downward facing dog when you're ready. So just feel free to modify your practice to suit your needs best, because downward facing dog can be a lot on the wrist if we're not used to bearing weight in the hands frequently. Okay, so start to, if you haven't done so already, set up your first shape. If it's that downward facing dog, if you're joining me in this, take your hands at least shoulder width distance apart. So I kind of have my fingertips turned out to the side a little bit, and my pinky fingers are off of my mat. I have my index fingers pointing straight forward, and I'm gripping the mat with all 10 fingers. So I have a really active hand, and I'm imagining like I could press the floor away with my hands. So I'm using my elbows, my shoulders, all the muscles that surround my hands to create this lift through the arms. And then see if you can relax your head. You might even shake your head out, right, left. Yes, no, a couple times. If you haven't done so already, feel free to bend the knees, right and left. You can always play with the stance. In your downward facing dog, you can take a wider stance. I like to initially, if I'm feeling a little stiff or sore, which today I definitely am, I will be generous with myself and take a wide stance on my mat. So my feet are about outer width mat distance, a little bit wider than my hips. And then I have a shorter stance, so my heels of my hands are a little bit closer to my toes than they normally would be. If you're still with me in downward facing dog, about 3 more breaths. If you're in child's pose, just continue breathing deep into the belly. If you're taking a break from downward facing dog, just giving yourself that compassion, speaking to yourself kindly, and acknowledging when you're ready to come back to downward facing dog. Just take one more breath. And then we'll meet up in tabletop so we can shift forward, knees to the mat from down dog. And just take a moment here to reset the hands. So continue to press the floor away. See if you can slightly round the upper back and keep your tabletop. We're not going to go into cat-cow just yet. We'll start to use a contralateral movement here by extending the left leg back and extending the right arm forward. So you're balancing on your left palm and your right knee. You can curl those right toes under if you like. You can also just rest the top of the right foot flat. And then see here if you can hug your navel into your spine and tuck your tailbone a little bit. So the spine's getting really long and the core is engaging. Take one more breath in here. And then come back to your tabletop, right palm plants, left knee releases. And we'll switch sides. Right leg back, left arm forward. Pressing the floor away with that right palm. And then you can choose again. I think sometimes tucking the toes under on that back leg. So like for example, the left foot, tucking the toes under, sometimes helps me with balance, but I also like to experiment pressing down through the top of the foot, so you might try both. Let's take one more breath in here. Feel the length of the spine, feel the core engage. And then exhale back to tabletop. Let's go side to side with that breath to movement a few times. Inhale, right arm forward, left leg back. Exhale, release. Inhale, left arm forward, right leg back. Exhale, release. Inhale, right arm, left leg. Exhale, release. Inhale, left arm, right leg. Exhale, release. All right, now let's move through a few rounds of cat and cow. And if you want to take something a little bit less linear, like if you want to sway the hips side to side, you can sway the head side to side, some barrel rolls through the chest. Or you can kind of combine all of those movements. I like to see where I'm feeling rather sticky in the spine and the rib cage, and where I feel like things are moving rather fluidly. It's kind of different every day. Sometimes it depends on, how I slept or what I did the day before. So just be willing to check in with your body each day. Okay, let's tuck those toes. Press through the hands, lift and hover the knees. Deep breath in here. Lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. We're going to try a little bit of that contralateral movement in our down dog. Remember, you can always come back to that tabletop. You were just there. You're familiar with it. Let's start off by really rooting through your left palm and just come to your right fingertips. So the majority of your weight in your hands is in your left hand. And you're stabilizing a little bit with your right hand. And then lift that left leg up and back. And then you might try a few hops here with the right fingertips off the floor. When I hop my hand off, this right hand, I kind of hop it back towards my right foot. You don't have to do that. You can stay underneath the shoulder or parallel with your left hand. I just think it's kind of interesting to play with that balance. Let's release out of that, come back to downward facing dog, just normalize it. Relax your head, connect back with your breath. And then start to really get heavy in your right palm, left leg. First, you're just going to come up onto your left fingertip, so your right palm is your base. And then lift that right leg up and back. And it really doesn't matter how high your lifted leg gets. It could just hover above the mat even. And now here's the option to hop that left hand off the mat. It might move back towards the back foot, but it might also just stay parallel with the front hand. So you can play with that, see what's going to work for you today, what's not going to work for you today, and then come back to downward facing dog. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Let's inhale and shift forward into high plank or supported plank with the knees on the mat. Either way, see if you can shift the weight into that left hand. Come to your right fingertips, float the left leg. Okay, so you're in your plank. You were just doing this in down dog. And then maybe hop that right hand off the mat. Come back to your high plank, right palm plants, left foot roots. And then let's try that second side. So coming to your left fingertips, maybe floating the right foot, maybe hopping the left hand off the mat. We're jumping right into it today, so if you need to take a knee at any point in time, please feel free. High plank. If the knees are lifted, lower them. Let's come all the way down onto the belly. Left hand's going to stay where it is. Right arm reaches forward. Inhale, lift the right hand and arm as you float the left leg. So still on that contralateral movement. And then exhale, release. Right palm underneath the shoulder. Left arm reaches forward. Inhale, find that low cobra in your upper back as you lift the left arm and stretch the right leg back. And then exhale, release. Tuck your toes under here. Option to press up and back, downward facing dog, or maybe take a moment in child's pose if you need a little breather. All right, so we'll start to add on and start to flow a little bit. We'll see if we can get through this a couple of times, building on. And we're going to start to work with some standing poses within our flow. So to begin, from down dog, lift your heels, a little bend in your knees. Begin to walk your way forward, top of the mat. Hang out here for a moment in your forward fold. Relax your head. Be generous with your back body, bend your knees. Take one more breath here. Inhale, halfway lift. If you have your blocker or stool there, fingertips can come to that prop. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, press down through your feet, extend your arms forward, reaching the arms up and overhead. And then exhale, you can place your hands on your waist. You could also take your hands to your heart. We're going to shift our weight into our left foot and lift the right knee up. Okay, and then we're going to turn the torso towards that right hip. And you might take your left hand, curl it around the outer thigh and extend your right hand back, or right hand can place on the low back. So you're just turning and rotating over towards your right hip. Really press back through that left hamstring and calf. Deep breath in, grow tall. Now on our exhale, this right foot's going to extend back into an airplane pose. And the left hand's going to reach down towards your prop or the floor. You can come to your fingertips too. So left fingertips maybe to your prop. Right hand might still be on the hip or the low back. You can also turn this open towards half moon pose. And then let's come back so that shoulder and hip on the right side are pointing down, and then soft landing in a crescent lunge. Left foot is still forward, right leg is now back. You can take that right hand and slide it down the back of the right leg if you like, as you lift your left arm up in your crescent lunge. It's a little bit of a back bend here. Big breath in. And then on your breath out, listen up. Right hand's gonna windmill forward and plant at the top of the mat as the left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. So you're just adding in a little twist into your lunge. Left palm plants, step back to high plank. Pause here for a moment. Really root through your right hand. Come to your left fingertips. Maybe float the right leg off the mat. Maybe float the left hand off the mat. So see if you can find that balance, that contralateral movement in your plank. Remember, you can always take tabletop. And then let's all lower down to the belly. So as you come to the belly, extending the right arm forward and the left leg up and back, low cobra. Exhale, releasing it. Left arm forward, right leg up and back, low cobra. Exhale, releasing. Tucking those toes under, pressing up to high plank and down dog or back to child's pose. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. If you are in child's pose, making your way to down dog when you're ready. And then see if you can find a little bit of that contralateral movement in your down dog, just like we've been trying. Base will be the left hand. Come to your right fingertips. Maybe you float the left leg up and back. You can hop that right hand off the mat if you like. And then come back to your down dog. Try that second side. So now the right hand is the base, the left fingertips are on the mat, right leg might lift up and back. Maybe give yourself a little time to hop with that left hand.
And then down dog. Deep breath in here. Deep breath out. Big bend in the knees, lifting the heels. Make your way forward, top of the mat. Inhale, find that halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift again, this time extending the arms forward, come all the way up to standing. And then maybe the hands exhale. You can rest your hands at your hips. You can take your hands together at the heart. We're just going to start to shift the weight into that right foot, see if we can find some balance there as you lift the left knee. And then we'll turn the torso towards your left. The right hand might hook around the outer leg, and the left hand can extend back behind you, or the hand can rest at the low back. So see if you can grow tall through here, your spine. So feel that length through the spine. Take one more breath here, really standing tall and strong through your right leg. And then listen up, we're gonna extend the right leg back into our airplane pose as the right fingertips come forward. Fingertips reaching for your prop or the floor. So the right hand's gonna help stabilize. Left hand, it can remain at the hip, or you can start to turn the left toes out to the side. Left hand can reach up for the ceiling for half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. If you came to Ardha Chandrasana, let's come back to left shoulder, left hip facing the mat. Soft bend in that right knee, and then land in your crescent lunge. So left hand's gonna slide down the back of the left thigh, right arm's gonna reach up towards the ceiling. Deep breath in here. Think about length through the spine, lifting up through the chest, settling into your feet. And then let's windmill that left palm forward, plant it next to your right foot. Come into your twisted lunge, right hand will reach up towards the ceiling. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Right palm plant, step back, high plank. Pause here for a moment, root down through your right hand. Come to your left fingertips, float your right foot. Switch sides with that contralateral movement. So left hand is the base. Come to your right fingertips, left foot floats. And then let's come all the way down to the belly. When you're making that transition, you can play with the three-legged chaturanga. Let's find the left arm reaching forward, right leg floating up and back, low cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, right arm extends forward, left leg up and back, low cobra. Exhale, release. Tuck your toes, make your choice, child's pose or downward facing dog. Okay, let's meet up and down dog if we want to play with that balance, contralateral down dog. Right palm is the base. Come to your left fingertips. Left leg, it might float up and back. If you're getting comfortable with this, oops, I have the wrong side. So right leg up and back, right palm is the base. You're on your left fingertips. Okay, so opposite limbs are bases. Now, if you're hopping that left hand back, you might see if you can get a little bit closer to that left ankle. And then we'll switch sides. So if I confused you at all with that right and left, opposite limbs are bases now. So left palm is your base. Right leg lifts. Sorry, left leg lifts. See, now I'm getting it all mixed up. Left palm is base, left leg lifts. That's a good way to think about it. Whatever hand is rooted, that leg is lifting. Now, if you're taking the hand back, the right hand, you could hop it back, see if you can get a little bit closer to the leg if you want a little extra. although this is a lot. Let's come back to down dog. Big breath in here. Big breath out. Lift those heels, bend the knees, make your way forward. Top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold in. And so one more time through a brief little standing series, we will take what we did before and kind of add on to it or give you options. So hands at the waist, rooting down through your left foot, lifting your right knee, rotating torso towards that right hip. You might take the hand to the outer thigh, right hand to the low back, and you can stay here. You can extend your right arm back behind you if you like. Option to kick that right foot forward. You could also reach for the outer edge of the foot, making a little stirrup, left hand to outer right foot, and try extending that right leg forward. Also, you can simultaneously extend that right hand back. If you're losing your balance here, no big deal. We're gonna come back into our crescent lunge anyways. Making a pass through briefly, balancing in either your airplane pose or your half moon. And then landing in our crescent lunge. Slide that right hand down the back of the right thigh, lift that left arm up. And windmill that right palm forward, plant the palm. Left arm reaches high. Left palm plants. And then option here to just flow it right through three-legged chaturanga. Maybe you just take a upward facing dog if you want to come through this contralateral movement with me, one time each side. And then meeting up and back in either that child's pose or that down dog. 3 breaths. From your down dog, lift your heels, bend your knees, making your way forward, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding back in. Root through those feet, come all the way up to standing. Hands can rest at the waist. Shifting the weight into the left foot as you lift. I've got my rights and lefts mixed up today. Okay, right foot is your base, left knee lifts. Turning and rotating over that left hip. Right hand can reach to the outer thigh. Left hand can stretch back or rest at the low back. You can stay here, you can add on. If you want to play with that balance, you can reach down, scoop up the outer foot with the right hand. Maybe you play with extending it forward. And it's okay if it doesn't get all the way straight, but it might. Let's take a moment to pass through our airplane pose and maybe into Ardha Chandrasana or half moon. And we'll meet up in our crescent lunge, turning those left toes down, landing on the ball mound of the left foot, sliding the left hand down the back of the thigh, right arm reaching up. Windmilling that left palm forward, plant the palm, right arm reaches up. Right palm plants. High plank or three-legged high plank, option to move through that three-legged chaturanga. Option to move through upward facing dog, or one more time through your contralateral movement. And then if you are feeling the need to spend a few more breath cycles in down dog, feel free to take it. Child's pose is always there for you. When you're ready, we're going to make our way onto our back. However you want to get there. If you're coming from down dog, you can hop your feet through, crossing at the ankles, land softly on the tailbone. And then when we come to our back, let's plant those feet about hip width distance apart. Reach down with your hands, palms facing the floor.
feet parallel. Stay rooted through both feet as you inhale, lift your hips up. Inhale, reach your right arm overhead, just your right arm. Lift your left heel, really root through your right foot. Maybe you float that left foot up towards the ceiling. Okay, so right arm's reaching overhead, left foot's reaching up for the ceiling, possibly, or you could just be in your bridge pose. Set that left foot back down, release the right arm alongside the body, lower the pelvis all the way to the mat. Inhale, press into both feet, lift your hips. Left arm extended overhead. Lift your right heel so you're on the ball mound of the right foot. You can stay here like this. If you want to try that balance here, right foot floats up. And it's like you're pressing into that left foot so strongly that your right foot gets closer to the ceiling. If you've got this, first release that right foot back to the mat, left arm back to the mat, and then pelvis back to the mat. Okay, so one more time each side. You can also just hold a restorative bridge pose. You can slide a prop underneath the pelvis if you want something more relaxing. If you're coming along with me, press into your feet, lift your hips, extend your right arm overhead, root through your right foot, left leg up towards the ceiling, press through your right foot, release the left foot, release the right arm, come back to the pelvis. Second side, inhale, lift the hips up, left arm overhead. Really root through your left foot as you extend the right foot up towards the ceiling. Release that right foot back to the mat, left arm follows, and then back of the pelvis releases. From here, hugging your right knee into your chest, you can choose to extend that left leg forward if you like. We're going to take a little rotation here. So you can wrap your hand around the outer edge of your right knee, pull that right knee across the body towards your left side, extend the right arm off to the right. Just coming into a little twist. 3 breaths here. Unwind, come back through center. One more time, squeeze that right knee in towards the chest. Re-extend your right leg, let it go long. Left knee, hug it in. Rotating that left knee across the body towards your right. Extending the left arm off to the left. See if you can get yourself breathing deep into your belly here for 3, 2. Last big full breath. Start to roll back onto the back of the pelvis, hugging the left knee into the chest one more time. And then extend that left leg long. Start to set up here for your final shavasana. If you'd prefer to take something else aside from lying down on your back flat, that's totally welcome and fine. The idea here is that you're giving yourself time to be still, to rest, just to be, not to have to do anything. You could think about it as integrating all the valuable neuromuscular lessons you've learned throughout our time together today. Set us a timer for a minute to just be still, be silent in our shavasana. Please feel free to stay longer in your shavasana. If you are ready to move on with your day, begin to awaken the body slowly, wiggling your fingertips, your toes, maybe move your head side to side. You can breathe in and stretch the arms overhead. Exhaling, rolling off to a side, passing through a fetal position. Pressing your way up to an upright seat, and feel free to use any props that allow you to sit tall. We'll just take a few moments here to breathe. And shoulders back over the hips, ears back over the shoulders, maybe close down the eyes, rest the hands face down on the lap. As you breathe in, feel, see, or sense that you are growing taller through your spine. As you breathe out, feel, see, or sense that you are rooting down into your seat. You're grounded and stable in your seat. Again, breathing in, growing tall. And breathing out, grounding, rooting. Invitation to close out your practice by bringing your hands together at your heart and bowing the chin into the chest. Taking a moment here to honor your effort with reverence and gratitude. May we use the fruits of this practice to serve our highest good. May we share it with those around us and those that could use healing. And may we remember to send love and healing to all sentient beings around the world. May they be happy. May they be free. Namaste, yogis. All right, everyone. I hope you had a good practice today. That was tough work, and hopefully as we progress in this contralateral movement, these balancing things, the muscles that surround these joints will learn how to turn on and help us stabilize. But if you have any questions about this kind of work, please let me know. You can always email me, tessa@tessatovar.com. I love to hear from y'all. So let me know what's working and what you want more of, okay? Take care of yourselves.